More now on the US midterm elections. Associate Professor Brendon O'Connor is with the US Study Centre in Sydney and he joins me tonight. Brendon, thanks so much for your time. I guess one of the things that are really showing up for these midterm elections is just how unpopular Barack Obama has become.
I think that's one way of seeing it, but presidents in their sixth year tend to get punished in the Congress in these elections. People are generally thinking they haven't achieved what they've promised in two elections, and therefore their party will probably do fairly poorly, the incumbent party, in any congressional election 6 years in. So I don't think that's entirely abnormal. Obama, you're right, isn't particularly popular. He's not being used by most of the major Senate candidates, the Democrats, on the stump, but it's a fairly sort of common trend of presidents at this point in the cycle.
So now, of course, he's been hugely frustrated along the way because he hasn't had control of both chambers. Now it looks like he could lose control entirely, which is really going to frustrate any legislative agenda that he has left.
Indeed, very much so. I mean, the chance of Obama doing all those things he promised 6 years ago will become more and more difficult. He'll get very little achieved in the last 2 years. The Democrats had control of the House and the Senate for its first 2 years of his presidency and got through healthcare reform, which will be the one big sort of domestic policy that he'll be known for. And the Republicans talked a lot about repealing that reform, but I don't think they will do that. I think there's a sense that too much time's passed by, and in fact it's relatively popular, relatively successful. They'll trim away at the edges of that program rather.
Brendon, how could it play out for the Republicans, though, if they do end up getting control and trying to set their own agenda? Could that backfire on them ahead of the presidential elections in 2 years' time?
It could if they don't achieve anything, and Obama can, of course, veto anything the Republicans pass through the House and the Senate. They can't override his veto unless they have 60 votes in the Senate, which they won't have. So it could be a period of increasing gridlock, which has really been the story of the Obama presidency in American politics for quite some time. So if the Republicans can't achieve anything, they'll go to the next election with people saying, well, look, they had their chance and they were ineffective. So I think they'll try to put some policies forward towards the end of their sort of 2 year period, maybe on immigration. This is something that people think maybe a compromise is possible because the Republicans can't continuously be seen as the anti-immigrant party.
And also, of course, they have stood a lot less Tea Party candidates for these midterms. Is that a lesson, do you think, that they have learnt from the backlash to those candidates in the past?
Very much so. I mean, in 2010, Obama did pretty poorly. His party, the Democrats, in the House of Representatives, they lost it. And it seemed like they could possibly lose the Senate. But the Republicans put forward some very unfortunate candidates who said other ridiculous things which were heard around the world. And this really hurt the Republican efforts to win the Senate that time round. I think they've learnt that they've got to have more experience, maybe duller candidates in some regards, less extreme candidates. So there's been less enthusiasm in some ways about this election. It's been a pretty boring campaign, but there hasn't been the kinds of people who have really stirred up the Democratic base to get out and vote.
What is it telling us, though, about the next race for president? Does it look more likely to be Republican, or does Hillary Clinton still have some clear air?
Well, one of the interesting things is that more people in America are possibly likely to vote for the Democrats, or just a very small sort of majority in the House for the Republicans in this election. So the Republicans win on the basis of a fair bit of gerrymandering, really, at the House level and the Senate level. So there's a lot of states with not many people which have 2 senators, the same as the most populous states. So the Democrats in a kind of two-horse race of voters are still probably ahead. This speaks pretty well for Hillary Clinton, or any Democrat is probably likely to go in favourite to the next election. What this election will probably tell us will be a few governors who come out of it with good victories, or at least a second term, who'll say, look at me, I'm successful in my state, I could do well on the national level.
It's a sort of kind of election, though, that I guess they'd be looking to Australia for compulsory voting, because there seems to be real apathy about getting out and having a say.
Yes, in these midterms, there's often a vote around 30 to 35% of eligible voters, which is pretty miserable, really, for one of the world's leading democracies, or claim to be. So it's not that impressive. I mean, Americans vote a lot. They often vote every sort of other year, primary elections as well. So this isn't an election that's stirred up a great deal of passion, I think, on either side. There's a sort of loyal base who'll vote for the Republicans and probably get them over the line in the Senate. There's a certain kind of loyal base for the Democrats who tend to wane a little bit more, depending whether it's a presidential election or not. And there's a lot of people who are just fed up with federal politics in the United States, or apathetic, who won't turn out. So it's an election which I think we could emphasise Obama's sort of lack of popularity, or what it really means. What it means is some candidates in particular states probably have a good get out to vote, or good strategies in those particular areas.
Brendon, great to get your insights. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure.